Welcome back to the quiet study of history, where we journey into the grim, merciless heart of the medieval justice system. Forget the grand battles and the royal courts tonight. We look at the raw, unforgiving ledger of everyday right, where a minor transgression could cost you far more than just your freedom. In this brutal, unforgiving era, the concept of justice was not about rehabilitation, but about stark public deterrence and the chilling imposition of order. The law was not just something you fought in a courtroom, it was something you experienced physically, emotionally, and publicly, a visceral reminder of your place in a rigid, unforgiving society. Tonight, the question is simple, personal, and cold, echoing through the centuries. Would you have survived the most bizarre, humiliating, and agonizing punishments of the Middle Ages? In this world, justice was not meted out in sterile, hushed chambers, was a loud, often bloody, always public spectacle designed to terrify the witness even more than it reformed the sinner. The punishments were meant to be remembered, to be seen, to be talked about, to brand you physically, socially, and emotionally as a stark warning to every soul in the marketplace. There was no escaping the gossip, no escaping the stares, and often no escaping the lasting mark on your body or your mind. The collective memory of your humiliation would haunt you long after the physical pain subsided. We begin not with the terror of immediate death, but with a living form of destruction, the slow, agonizing erosion of your social standing, a public shame designed to make you wish for the swift, anonymous relief of the grave. These were punishments for offenses that, in our time, might warrant a small fine or a stern lecture, but in the Middle Ages they threatened the very fabric of communal harmony, and the penalty was paid in dignity. The scold bridle. Punishment for a sharp tongue. Imagine, for a moment, that you are a woman living in a bustling, close-knit 6th century English or Scottish town. Life is hard and tensions run high. You known to be vocal, perhaps too opinionated for your station, maybe prone to gossiping a little too freely about your neighbors, or worse, you publicly criticize your husband or question the authority of your local alderman, or even engage in too many public arguments with other women. Your voice, in short, is deemed unruly. This crime is not theft, nor is it violence. It is merely scolding or brawling, a disturbance of the peace through the power of your words. You are arrested not by a formal police force, but perhaps by the parish consta or even your own husband, under local custom. You are brought before the local magistrate or the church court. Your sentence is swift, non-negotiable, and terrifyingly intimate. Scold bridle. Feel the cold, hard metal being locked around your head. It is a terrifying cage-like muzzle, often crudely forged from iron, that clamps securely behind your neck, encompassing your entire head. But the true horror, the very essence of the punishment, is the small, sharp metal plate, sometimes studded with a spike, sometimes barbed, that is carefully inserted into your mouth, pressing down firmly onto your tongue. Can you survive this? Physically, yes. Your life is not directly threatened by this instrument, but your survival is a living death, a profound and agonizing silence. The plate holds your tongue completely immobile, preventing you from speaking even a syllable. Every attempt to form a word, to articulate a sound, is met with the sharp, digging pain of the metal. But it all causes profuse drooling, painful swelling of your mouth and tongue, and if you try to chew or swallow, the metal digs in deeper, a constant, sickening reminder of your silenced, captive state. Your mouth fills with metallic tastes and the sting of your own tongue. Now the consta, perhaps accompanied by a jeering crowd, begins to drag you through the marketplace. You are the spectacle. The neighbors you gossiped with, the merchants you complained about, the children you scolded, they all gather, pointing, mocking, and laughing. Your crime is written clear on your face, on your silenced lips, on the cage around your head. Silence. You are forced to endure hours of public humiliation, paraded like an animal, unable to defend yourself, unable to cry out for mercy or even for water, unable to even moisten your lips. You become an object lesson, a public service announcement of submission. Your life, your identity as a communicator, as a participant in your community, is instantly stripped away, replaced by the heavy, suffocating weight of the cold iron cage and the burning shame. You leave the market a physically whole person, but you are a social corpse, your reputation ruined forever, your voice taken, your silence bought at the unspeakable cost of your dignity. The memories of that walk will never leave you. The drunkard, a gown of shame now. Shift your perspective. You've had too much ale, perhaps one too many cups of cheap wine. You caused a disturbance in the tavern, shouted at a neighbor, or perhaps you merely fell asleep in the muddy street outside the inn, a public nuisance. Your crime is public drunkenness, a minor offense certainly, but one that disrupts the fragile social order and sets a bad example for the children. Your punishment is not a fine, which you likely can't afford, nor is it imprisonment in the common jail. It is the drunkard cloak known as the Schandmantel or shame cloak in German-speaking lands. The cloak is not made of silk or wool. It is a heavy, cumbersome wooden barrel. It is hoisted over your head, with a small hole crudely cut out for your head to stick through, and two smaller heads for your arms, which are locked in place, preventing you from removing the barrel. The entire barrel rests uncomfortably on your shoulders, weighing you down, pressing against your chest, making every breath a shallow struggle against the suffocating weight of the wood and the stench of stale ale. Imagine trying to walk. The sheer bulk and awkwardness of the wooden prison make movement a slow, shuffling parody. The sounds of your heavy wooden prison clanking and scraping with every wide step draw immediate attention. Your head bobs ridiculously above this enormous cask, a grotesque walking advertisement for your vice. Can you survive this? Again, physically, yes. But try to drink water with your arms locked into the barrel. Try to eat a piece of bread. Try to use a privy or even sit down. You are encased in a cage of wood and shame, a public, lumbering symbol of your disgrace. For days, perhaps a full week, you are forced to wear this bulky, humiliating symbol of your moral failing, shuffling through the very streets where you disgraced yourself, enduring the jeers and the pointing fingers of your neighbors. Every person who sees you understands your crime instantly, without a word needing to be spoken. The barrel is heavy, the shame is heavier. It is the ultimate object lesson delivered with a slow, agonizing grind. Your indulgence in drink has been repaid with a perpetual, physically taxing symbol of your loss of self-control. You are a clown of your own making, trapped in a wooden prison of ridicule. Stocks and pillory, courtier of exposure. Now let us consider the simplest yet most enduring forms of public punishment, the stocks and pillory. Your crime might be petty fraud, minor assault, a breach of Sunday laws, or perhaps even paying games during church services. You are not a dangerous criminal, but you are a disruptive one. You are brought to the town square, to the permanent structure standing there, often near the church or the marketplace. If at the stocks, you are forced to sit on a low wooden bench. Your feet are then locked into heavy wooden planks, your ankles clamped immobile. If at the pillory, you are forced to stand, your head and hands locked into head and upright wooden frame, forcing you into an uncomfortable exposed position. Can you survive this? Almost certainly, yes, for a few hours. But this is where the real punishment begins. You are utterly helpless, unable to move, unable to defend yourself. The crowd, the very people you live amongst, gather. They are not merely observing, they are participating. They begin to hurl rotten vegetables, mud, stones, or even animal dung at you. Stench is immediate. A splat of the vegetables on your face and clothes is humiliating. Sting of small stones is painful. You try to duck, but your head is locked. You try to cover your face, but your hands are locked. You stand or sit, completely at the mercy of the crowd cruelty and boredom. The sun beats down on you, or the rain soaks you to the bone. Insects crawl on your exposed face, your muscles cramp, your joints ache, and the hunger and thirst become unbearable. But you cannot move, you cannot escape. This is the cruelty of exposure. You are not merely punished by the law, you are punished by the entire community, who are given license to vent their frustrations and cruelties upon your helpless form. Hours stretch into an eternity. When you are finally released, stiff, aching, filthy, and bruised, you are physically sore, but your soul is utterly, profoundly bruised. You have been utterly stripped of your humanity in the most public way possible, a living target for the collective scorn of your peers. The memory of their faces, their laughter, and the sting of their missiles will forever be burned into your mind. We move from shame to the permanent, agonizing removal of ability punishments that ensured the crime was visible on your body for the rest of your shortened life. These were not meant to kill you immediately, but to cripple your capacity to live and to work. The medieval concept of justice often equated visible injury with visible guilt, a stark, undeniable ret etched onto the flesh. The message was clear. Your body, the instrument of your crime, would forever bear its mark, forever announcing your transgression to the world. In this girt landscape, your body became the canvas for the law inscription, a living ledger of your transgressions. punishments were meticulously designed not only to inflict pain, but to ensure that your crime was permanently broadcast to every soul you encountered, making it almost impossible to escape the shadow of your past. These were judgments that physically carved away your ability to function normally in society, leaving you a living testament to severe justice, the branding iron, the mark of the thief. Let us assume your crime is petty theft. A loaf of bread, perhaps, stolen out of desperate hunger, or a few coins pilfered from a market stall to feed your family. This isn't your first offense, or perhaps the local community has decided that mere public humiliation, like the drunkarded cloak, is simply not enough to deter you or others. You must be marked, an undeniable warning, a permanent identifier of your criminal past. You are dragged to the whipping post or a similar public fixture in the heart of the marketplace. The boisterous crowd from earlier is now hushed, their laughter replaced by a morbid, expectant silence. This is no longer a comedy for their amusement, but a gerb, serious act of judgment. Executioner assistant grips your wrist with unyielding force and presses your hand flat against the rough wood of the post, exposing your skin. You can smell the pungent smoke of the brazier nearby, where the instrument of your punishment is heating, and the metallic tang of fear is thick and acrid in your throat. Your heart pounds like a trapped bird against your ribs. The executioner approaches, a formidable figure in his leather apron, holding the branding iron with a thick, gloved dend. The shape, perhaps a distinctive thief for thief, or a symbol unique to the town justice, or even the initial of your specific crime, is glowing a dull, menacing red, shimmering with the intense heat. It hisses faintly as it approaches the cool air near your face, the sound a chilling prelude to the agony. Then, the press. The agonizing sizzle as the red-hot metal contacts your living skin, deep on your palm, or perhaps more cruelly, on your forehead or the side of your cheek for a more visible, inescapable mark. The pain is instant, profound, and utterly overwhelming, a burning, tearing sensation that floods your entire being. You can hear and smell your own flesh incinerating, the sickening odor of burnt hair and tissue filling your nostrils. You scream, a raw, primal sound, but it is swallowed by the crowd's collective murmur of revulsion and gin satisfaction. You collapse inward, but your arm is held fast. The iron is finally lifted. A smoking, blisterer black mark remains, an ugly, angry scar already forming on your flesh, indelible and permanent. Can you survive this? Physically, yes. The branding itself is not intended to be fatal, but your hand, your working hand, is crippled for weeks, rendering you incapable of labor, and the mark itself is permanent and indelible. Every time you extend your hand for change, every time you try to shake hands with a new merchant, every time you meet a new acquaintance, they see the brand. You are instantly and irrevocably known as a thief or worse. Your capacity to earn an honest living is decimated, your social standing ruined beyond repair. The initial searing pain of the burn is nothing compared to the social scar that follows you for the rest of your life. The mark is a permanent placard of shame, a testament to the court's relentless memory and a living billboard of your unforgiven past. You are branded for life, both inside and out. The loss of a limb. The price of repeat offense now. Consider a more extreme form of mutilation. Your crime is grave, perhaps repeated theft or violent assault. The community decides that a mere brand is insufficient. You must lose the very limb that performed the crime. You are brought before the crowd. The executioner now holds not an iron but a sharp axe or a heavy cleaver-like sword. You are forced to place your hand, or perhaps your foot, onto a wooden block, exposing the limb. The executioner raises the axe. The crowd is silent, their faces gurs. There is no humor in there, only brutal final hour. Can you survive this? Yes, but it is a fight for your life. The blow comes swiftly, brutally, the pain is astronomical. A white-hot agony as the axe severs bone, muscle, and flesh. Blood, warm and sticky, spurts onto the ground, onto the executioner, perhaps even onto the front row of the crowd. You scream, a desperate guttural sound, and collapse in a heap, writhing in unimaginable agony. The executioner quickly applies a heated iron to the stump, not for mercy, but to cauterize the wound, to stem the flow of blood. This secondary burn is a fresh agony on top of the first. You are then taken away, bleeding profusely, probably semi-conscious from the shock and the pain. In a world without proper medical care, infection is almost guaranteed. You will likely suffer for weeks, feverish delirium, praying for death. If you do survive, you are now Maimon. One arm gone, one leg gone. Your capacity to work, to feed yourself, to defend yourself is utterly decimated. You are a beggar, a cripple, permanently reliant on the charity of VUDs. The loss of a limb is not just a physical wound. It is a sentence to a life of utter destitution and dependence, a permanent agonizing reminder of the severe price of your crime. Your life is fundamentally, irrevocably over, and you knew it. Trial by hot water, the judgment of the divine. Now, imagine a different, perhaps even more terrifying scenario. You were accused of a serious crime, perhaps murder or adultery or heresy, but there is no clear, undeniable evidence of your guilt. Your accuser claims you committed the transgression, but the proof is lacking and eyewitnesses are unreliable or conflicting. In this chaotic time, before modern forensics or comprehensive legal systems, human judgment is deemed insufficient to determine the truth. In such cases, the ultimate authority is invoked. God Himself must decide your fate. You are sentenced to trial by ordeal, specifically the ordeal by hot water. This is a terrifying appeal to the heavens, a desperate gamble with your very life and soul, a public demonstration of divine justice. You are brought to the local church where a priest has meticulously prepared the ordeal. A large cauldron of water, blessed with solemn prayers and holy incantant, has been wrought to a violent rolling boil over a roaring fire. The air is thick with steam and solemn nan. Into this menacing, bubbling water the priest carefully places a small object, a consecrated ring, a specific stone, or a weighted piece of lead, far enough down that you must plunge your entire arm in, past the wrist, to retrieve it. This is no mere dip, it is a full, agonizing submersion, a test of faith and flesh. You strip your arm bare. Intense heat radiating from the bubbling water is almost unbearable, searing your face, making your skin prickle with dread. Crowd of villagers and the solemn clergy owe their breath, their eyes fixed on you, a living sacrifice to truth. You know that if you show the slightest hesitation, the smallest sign of fear or reluctance, you are already guilty in their eyes. God would not test the truly innocent with such terror, nor would an innocent person fear His righteous judgment. The priest commands you, his voice ringing with divine authority, echoing in the quiet church, by the pure will of God, reach in and reclaim the truth of your soul. Let His judgment be known upon your flesh. Can you survive this? You have no choice. Your very soul, your life, hangs in the balance. You plunge your hand and forearm into the bubbling, scalding mass. The pain is instant, total, and profound, a burning, tearing sensation that rips through your nerves, a scream that you can barely suppress, a sensation of flesh tearing and boiling away. You grasp the object, a tiny, insignificant thing, and snatch your hand back from the inferno. It is horribly scalded, raw, blister and weeping fluid, smoking faintly in the cold air of the church. The smell of burnt skin fills your nostrils. Your grievously injured hand is then meticulously bandaged and sealed by the priest, often with holy wax and sacred thread, to prevent any tampering or magical interference. You must then return to the church in precisely 3 days. This is where your fate truly lies. If, upon unwrapping, the wound is healing cleanly, show signs of recovery and purity, without pus or infection, God has clearly intervened to protect the innocent. You are declared innocent by divine judgment and set free, your ordeal a testament to your righteousness. But if the wound is putrefied, infected, or festering with the gruesome signs of gangrene or uncleanliness, God has clearly rejected you. You are guilty, and a harsher, more definitive punishment, likely further mutilation, or the ultimate sentence of death awaits you. In a world without antibiotics, without modern medical understanding of infection, the chance of a severe burn becoming infected is immense, almost a certainty. Your survival and your freedom is literally a roll of the dice against septic shock, against the raw, unforgiving biological reality of a medieval injury. The trial by ordeal is the most chilling gamble of all, betting your life on the hope of direct divine intervention against the brutal, unforgiving reality of a medieval body's fragility. Your very existence, your honor, and your future hang on a thread woven by faith in the body as slender resilience. Trial by cold water, judgment of the wicked. As a gurn alternative, especially for crimes related to witchcraft or heresy, imagine the ordeal by cold water. Here, the element itself is not pain, but the chilling embrace of the element and its symbolic meaning. You are bound securely, your hands tied to your feet. You are then thrown into a deep, cold bath of water, a river, a lake, or a deep pond that has been ritually blessed by the church. Can you survive is? The premise is simple. If you float, you are guilty. Water, being pure, is said to reject the impure. If you struggle, if you cannot sink, it means the water itself rejects your wickedness, and you are condemned. If you sink, you are innocent. The terrifying irony: if you sink, you drown. Your innocence is proven, but you are dead. If you float, you are pulled out, declared guilty, and then executed by other means. This ordeal is a no-win scenario for your life. It is a testament to a justice system so absolute in its conviction that it offered no escape for the accused, only different pathways to the grave. We now come to the most elaborate and terrifying punishments, those reserved for the ultimate crimes against the king, the state, or the church. These are not about survival in any meaningful sense, but about ensuring your death is as slow, public, meaningful, and agonizing as possible to the thousands of witnesses who gather to watch. These are the ultimate expressions of sovereign power, designed to strip you of every last shred of humanity and to serve as an unforgettable, horrifying lesson to anyone who dared to contemplate similar defiance. The body, even in death, remains an instrument of state terror, hanging, drawing, and quartering, the treason of the body. Your crime is the most heinous imaginable. High treason, the ultimate betrayal of the king, the realm, or the established order. Perhaps you plotted against him, attempted his life, or raised an army against his authority. For this, no swift, merciful death will suffice. The punishment for this crime is meticulously designed to be the maximum expression of royal vengeance, a theatrical, prolonged destruction of your very essence, a public vivisection of your dignity and your body. First, you are hanged. You are dragged on a hurdle through the jeering streets to the gallows. You are placed on a cart with a sturdy rope tied around your neck, positioned over the trapdoor. The cart is then suddenly pulled away, and the drop is deliberately too short to break your neck quickly. The goal is not instant death, but slow strangulation and near death. You dangle, choking, struggling violently against the rough rope, your breath slowly being cut off, watching the world spin, your consciousness fading in and out of agonizing darkness. The pain is unimaginable, the suffocation terrifying, that your body fights for the air that is denied. Just as your life seems to leave you, you are cut down, still alive, perhaps barely breathing, a whimpering, half-conscious mess. Next, you are drawn. This is the gruesome disembowelment, a horror few can even imagine. While you are conscious, perhaps semi-conscious, or violently roused from your near-death state, the executioner makes a deep, agonizing slice across your abdomen. He then meticulously, slowly, pulls out your internal organs, your bowels, and often your very heart, and in a horrifying flourish, burns them before your very eyes, or places them next to your still-breathing body. Is the agony designed to ensure that the traitorous thoughts and the black heart that conceived the treason are purged from your body in a visible plume of smoke and stench? Your innards become a public bonfire of your sins. Finally, you are quartered. Once you are finally mercifully dead, or sometimes mercifully just at the very end of your consciousness, your body is chopped into 4 separate pieces. These 4 quarters, along with your severed head, are then carefully prepared. They are boiled in tar or preserved in salt and sent to different corners of the kingdom and prominently displayed on pikes on the London Bridge, or the main gate of your hometown, or the highest spire of your castle. Could you survive this? No. No human being could or was intended to survive this excruciating process. But the psychological survival of those who watched it and the profound, lasting terror it instilled in them was the entire, meticulously planned tote. Your shattered body becomes a grotesque, long-lasting monument to the King's absolute, unforgiving power, a silent, bloody sermon preached across the land. Your suffering, your shame, and your ultimate destruction serve as the ultimate, chilling deterrent, breaking on the wheel, the torture of slow destruction for crimes of heinous murder, banditry, or particularly violent rebellion. A punishment designed for prolonged suffering and public spectacle was the breaking on the wheel, also known as the Catherine wheel. You are stretched out on a large wooden wheel or a cross-shaped wooden frame, your limbs extended and tied securely to the spokes. The executioner then, with a heavy club or an iron bar, begins to systematically break your bones one by one. First your arms, then your legs, perhaps your ribs. Each blow is deliberate, shattering and excruciatingly painful, tearing through muscle and sinew. You hear the sickening crack of bone, feel the excruciating pain, and scream until your voice is hoarse and torn. Can you survive this? The intent is often for you to die slowly, agonizingly, from shock, blood loss, or dehydration over hours or even days. After your limbs are broken, you are often left tied to the wheel, which is then hoisted upright on a pole. Your broken, mangled body, twisted into a grotesque form, is left exposed to the elements, to the birds, and to the ceaseless stares of the passing public. You slowly fade, tormented by thirst, by flies, by the relentless pain of shattered limbs, and by the sheer horror of your own public, agonizing demise. This is a punishment designed to strip away all dignity and to prolong the suffering to its absolute limit, a slow, public deconstruction of the human hominin spirit, ensuring that the spectacle of your agonizing death served as a powerful, unforgettable warning. The gibbet, the cage of perpetual exposure. Let us end on a slow, persistent horror that extended even beyond death. Your crime is terrible, perhaps murder or highway robbery, and you have been sentenced to death. But even after death, the law is not done with you to assert its power over your corpse and over the living memory of your community. You are hanged until you die. Your life is taken. But instead of being cut down and buried with any dignity, your body is transferred. You are placed into a gibbet, a cage of iron straps and hoops shaped roughly in the grotesque outline of a man. The cage is meticulously crafted to contain your corpse, and it is then locked shut around you, securing you in your final metal prison. This gibbet, with your decaying body inside, is then hoisted up high on a tall pole at a particularly prominent, often bleak location, perhaps on a lonely heath, at a busy crossroads, or on a desolate hill overlooking the town you terrorized. Could you survive this? No. You are already dead, your life extinguished by the rope. But your punishment is now transferred to the relentless forces of nature and the enduring fear of the living. For weeks, months, sometimes even years, your iron cage, with its gruesome contents, swings slowly and mournfully in the wind and rain. The sun bakes your flesh, the winter storms batter your bones, and the birds of prey pick at your remains, creating a permanent, macabre wind chime of human consequence. The purpose of the gibbet is perpetual terror, a never-ending warning. Every traveler who passes that lonely spot sees your decaying corpse, a stark, skeletal figure against the sky. Every local child is warned about the sight, told tales of your crimes and your unceasing public penance. It is a constant, visible reminder that even in death, the long arm of the king law and the relentless forces of nature will continue to punish your transgression. It is the final, chilling answer to the question of survival. You did not, but your eternal public shame and the haunting memory of your gruesome end did. Your body, a husk, becomes the ultimate enduring testament to the unforgiving power of medieval justice. The sounds of the scold bridle, the heavy drag of the drunkard cloak, the hiss of the branding iron, the sickening crack of the breaking wheel, and the desolate clang of the gibbet now fade into the quiet. They are simply echoes of a past where life was cheap, where dignity was fleeting, and where a bizarre judgment could define, maim, or utterly erase you. Would you survive? It depends on the crime, the day, and where you fell in the cruel, unforgiving eyes of God and man. Good night.